Hi there, this is Sue Yelvington, and I help widows recover their inner spark, their joy to live, and get back into life again. So today I want to talk about what advice that you need to know if you're dealing with someone in a crisis. And the key here is if you are dealing with someone that's just gotten a diagnosis, just lost their spouse, whatever, some kind of crisis, and they are out in public, do not ask them how they're doing. I was part of a company, and we had a rule that we talked about, that if someone showed up at a meeting and they were, in this case, I had a good friend that was going through cancer, and she made it very clear, and the company made it very clear that you do not ask her how she's doing. Hi, Karen, I'm glad you're here. Don't ask her how she's doing. Think about, and women, you'll get this, okay? Something's happened, you're devastated, maybe you hid out for a few days. Hi, Jennifer. Maybe you've been hiding out for weeks. I know that, I had weeks that I didn't go out. And when I did, and so I might cry again today. These are tough situations. When I did go out, it took everything I had to get myself together and go out and put on that happy face. And then somebody comes up, hi Mary, somebody comes up and says, how you doing? And all of a sudden you lose it. Like, actually I'm in a really good mood today, but I just had a conversation with someone. Hey, Talena, I just had a conversation about someone about this, that they come up and you mean well. We know you mean well, but you take us out when you do that because you bring it, you bring to our immediate brain space, to our heart, how much we're missing, how much we're hurting. And there you are, your mascara is running, or maybe even worse, because when you're going through a big crisis, lots of times you hold in and you clench and you don't breathe right, and you don't take care of yourself, and there you are in public. And so what do? You freeze up and you don't breathe and you don't get to interact because you're so afraid you're going to lose it. And we don't do well in this country with emotion and pain and that kind of with pain and emotion. So please share this with people, that when someone is going through a crisis, if you care enough about that person to ask them, then care enough to pick up the phone and call them. One of the other challenges when people are going through tough stuff, divorce, death, illness, is when the immediate crisis is over, when the funeral's over, the phone doesn't ring in many cases. I just talked to a woman today that has excellent support. In fact, she was given all this food, and her in-laws, her brother-in-law and sister, took food over to their house, and they said, we're doing it on purpose so you get out of the house. Well, the food's going to be over here. That was really thoughtful of them. It is hard to call. I know that people didn't call me because they didn't want to take me out if I was having a good day. It isn't that they didn't care, and we know that. Those of us going through crisis, most of us. Some people really do feel like, gee, nobody loves me because the phone doesn't ring. But if you know anything about people are afraid of pain, and we don't deal with emotion. So when someone is out, do not ask them how they're doing. Wait till they go home. Wait till the end of the evening or the day or something like that. In fact, in some of the 12-step programs, they have a rule, no gossiping. Well, the truth of the matter is, if I ask you about someone else and you answer that question, then we're gossiping. We're talking about someone else. If I care enough about that person, why wouldn't I pick up the phone? Right? Call them and ask them, or pick up Facebook or text, or and then the other thing is invite them out. Invite them to go for a walk, go for coffee, go for lunch. Do something. Oftentimes when people are in crisis, and I do this myself, if there's something I can do, let me know. Do you think that person, for the most part, do you think they know what they need? Often they don't, or they're not sure you're serious, because people do that politically correct nonsense where they say stuff they don't mean, and that gets in the way. So just pick up the phone. If somebody pops into my head, did it today, somebody pops in my head and stays, I reach out and I just leave a message with them that I'm thinking about them, and that's enough sometimes. The woman that I talked to today, the other thing she did that I thought was the coolest thing is she put us a note. She's from a small town. Everybody knows everybody. So she put a sign on her door that said, I'm not able to come to the door right now. Thank you for stopping by. And protected herself that way. I'll tell you the other thing that I got thinking about as I was typing up my notes, which I'm not even following really. I don't know how long it had been since Jim died, but I was at a conference and I was having a ball. I mean, I like being around a bunch of people and I like learning. This was a health related thing and I like that kind of thing. I like to learn new things and I was really enjoying it. And then a woman and a man and a woman got up on stage and were talking about losing their daughter. And I could feel the tears starting to come. And I was getting into that paralysis when you're out in public, at least some of us, when you're out in public and you know you're going to lose it, you just tighten up and hope that you can just weather it. And I knew I couldn't weather that. I was going to be sobbing here in a minute, and I sure didn't want to do that in front of anyone. So I got up, and unfortunately, the one time I didn't drive, so I got up and left the auditorium, but there was nowhere for me to go. So I went into the women's bathroom, of course. And it was also like freezing cold or raining or something, so it wasn't like I could go outside. And I took the last stall and I just sobbed and sobbed. And of course everybody in the bathroom's getting all upset. And somehow, I don't even know whether I said something or what, but somehow the woman who was speaking came and wanted me to come out of the stall. And the last flippin' thing I wanted to do was come out of that stall. The dam had broke and I was just going to cry it all out and I was okay. And I kept telling them, I'm okay. Just please let me cry here. I'm not going to die. It's okay. They would not leave me alone. And I ended up coming out of the bathroom stall and the woman talked to me in the bathroom. And then we went and sat on some sofa in the hallway and the woman talked. She didn't know me. She didn't know how to connect with me. She was telling me her story. So instead of me being able to take care of myself, I felt that I had to take care of her. And so the other thing I think we need to learn is to just be there and listen. And don't feel like we have to give advice or whatever we think we have to do, utter these platitudes. One of these days, pretty quick, I'm going to do a post on what not to say, the dumb things. And I've been guilty of it. It isn't like you're the only one doing it. I've been guilty of it too. Saying things that don't do a thing to help. And I'm remembering a story. This wasn't part of what I was going to share, but I think this is a pretty cool story. Carolyn Mace wrote a book called Entering the Castle or The Keys to the Castle or something like that. And she talked about a woman that had had multiple miscarriages and she was so devastated by it all that she finally wasn't going to tell anybody. And they finally got past like the 5th or 6th month or something like that. And she told people and she was actually celebrating. And she ended up miscarrying. And she was so devastated that she couldn't cry. And a woman who knew her came into her hospital room and that woman cried for her. And that may sound silly if you don't, that you may not understand that or something. But it really got me that woman was there for her and she cried the tears that the other woman couldn't cry. So respect people's boundaries, and if you care enough to ask them how they're doing, do it when they're at home. Don't do it when they're out in public. And tell people that or share this video or something so that we can start, because when you first go out in public after a major crisis and when you've lost your spouse, what I hear over and over and over again from my friends and my clients is you feel like you've lost half of yourself. You don't know who you are anymore without that person. And so it's taken a lot for you to be able to go out in that insecure state into public. And so just honor them and don't ask how they're doing there. Just say, happy to see you here, looking good. Hey, I'm glad you made it out today. And, maybe invite them to do something or not. But try to be casual with them and let them feel like they're normal. And they are normal, but anyway. So that's all I wanted to share today. It seems like I think it's important. I think it's a way of treating people with respect and letting them set their own pace. And a lot of times when people are grieving and they're going through issues, we don't let them set their own pace. We think we know better than they do. And usually people know what they need. And when they know they're stuck, they'll tell you they're stuck. So those are my 2 cents for today. And thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And I hope you'll share it with anyone that might benefit from this. Have a great day.